as you can see, again, lovely part provided by Tim out there. Tim, I don't know if you're still there, but let's go ahead and switch to manufacture, create our setup like always, XYZ. We're going to go ahead and sheet the system with some normal size stock. Base grooving adaptive was my hope. Okay, yeah, no problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do our turning grooving. Where is it here? Turning adaptive roughing. $5.40. Hey, man, that's still, if you guys didn't know, we have $2 cans at the local bar by me. To me, that's 3 beers. I will drink that all day, every day. So as you guys can see, by default, you have outside grooving. You also have inside grooving. What I like to do is leave it plain as day and come back to it later to see which one we're really going to need. So we're going to go ahead and go with some OD grooving here. This is a lollipop tool. Now, I am going to have to rotate this tool at some point, but let's just see what we get, because usually what happens is, like I was expecting, this is a outside profile with a tool pointed down at my part, right? So let's get back in there. Let's edit our tool. First, we're going to start by pointing that tool a little different direction. Again, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And as you're going to see, I just caused Fusion to crash. So we're not going to send the error report. We're going to hope that she stays here. It doesn't look like she is going to crash. Now, as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and make a secondary change because it's not liking that, which is going to be, let's do inside grooving and see what happens. So again, I don't think we're going to actually get this to do, axial retract is greater than axial stock. So let's go ahead, and axial usually means long, stock front, stock back. I think we are getting a limit issue here. And let's see what we can come up with. So again, it looks like we are getting some type of issue. Axial retract distance is greater than axial stock. Yep. When in doubt, pull it out. Nope. Still nothing, right? So let's go back in. Tim, was this the same issue you were having at the end of the day? Feel free to let us know in chat. 4 cents for the Trump tariffs. Love to hear it. All right, let's see here. We're going to go ahead and dive through this a little bit bigger. Approach in Z, retract in Z. That's beautiful. Yes, yes, yes. So as a whole, I think the problem is coming from the fact that I have seen this, and I think I know what it is now looking at a side profile, is there's not really anything radially to start with. So let's go ahead and change something. We're going to go ahead and do a selection here. And then what I am going to do is we're going to make this also inner. Now this is going to look really weird for a lot of you out there. And the problem is I think when it's trying to retract off because it's inside grooving, is it's hitting this lug in the middle, and it does not like that. So we're going to go ahead and bump that out just a little bit further. Because again, it's more important to get a tool path at first than it is to really get the right tool path. So it is like I'm thinking, and I've seen this a lot, and I know Autodesk is working on it, is due to the profile we're working with. Pro tip here for you guys. If you ever are working on a lathe or an inside profile, do a section analysis under the inspect tab. This will split your part in half, making it much easier to see what's going on. And as you can see, this lug in the center is part of the problem, right? So let's go ahead and make a few more changes to this. So again, we have our radii working here. Let's go ahead and move our clearance inwards. Now it's not going to like that, which is no surprise, but maybe we can sneak this guy out a little bit further without having those problems. Again, there we go. We've moved outwards, still having those problems. I'm curious if we actually switch now to outside grooving. There we go. So it was yours truly fighting the system, because usually people don't give me a center hub with all kinds of problems. Tim, just kidding. So again, we're going to go ahead. We're just going to leave this to inner radius. If I can find it. Inner. Oh, we're outside now. Of course we're outside. So we need to actually come down to here. Leave this at 0. Tim, how's this looking? Tim, you're not complicated. It's just not the best of examples. But this is about as real world as it gets, guys, right? Like, why is it that yours truly out here tells you guys, come here on Friday, hustle Fusion Phil with your problems, try to stump the chump, whatever you guys want to refer to it. And as always, if you learned something new and you want to give more than a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, sharing this content helps too. You can always buy me a steak, a beer, or as Tim actually has, is one of our support plans that, as he has found out on multiple occasions, has saved him near and dear based on what's going on. So again, just running it from the top. This is my recommendations. I go turning. I'm going to go in for that adaptive roughing. I'm going to select my tool again. This time I'm going to hit OK. I do get this error. And why we get this error, I don't really know. But upon going back in for some reason and changing my inner radius, I do believe it's because this little button in the middle is the problem. Maybe not. We might have to give it more than that again. So again, we have our geometry. We have our OD. It's like, oh, I see what's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and change that clearance to 0. And let's go ahead and change this back to stock ID. Nope, still not working. Again, that is so funny. The way this thing just does not want to do it by default, but yours truly figured out a way. So let's do the trick, right? Let's start this fresh. 2D adaptive clearing. This is going to be dumb, but it might work. Inside grooving with that tool. And then for some reason, I would laugh if we switch it to outside grooving and it just works. It does not. Okay, so I'm not completely crazy on my end. Again, we go radii. Let's go ahead and just give that inside area. And then also on our stock OD, I don't know why that would affect it. It shouldn't affect it. I think we also technically moved our stock front out as well. And this is a fun one, Tim. Stock is way out in front, nothing in the back. We are still stuck to outside grooving, which is correct. Stock OD. It just does not like your part, man. Let me see here. Shouldn't have been linking, shouldn't have been anything else. Oh, you know what? Let's do, this guy needs to be radii, right? Still doesn't work. And then we went back to outside grooving. Yep. I don't know, man. I got it. I had it. We have it recorded. It should work, but it doesn't. Let's see here. You know what? I have a few other tricks up my sleeve. Let's do this. Let's cheat the system today. We're going to do turning profile roughing. We're going to do that based on outside profile vertical passes just because it'll be funny. As you can see, that is now working. Get our radial and axial grooving system going. That way we can work down in there. And what happens if we go ahead and derive now over to our adaptive roughing? It just does not want to do that. An unexpected error. Autodesk, we know you guys watch these videos. Can you tell us why it doesn't want to do this? That is true, Tim. Since 2014, you've been inside of Fusion. I think, honestly, thinking back, I may have even talked to you when I worked at Autodesk, as well as my transitions over to becoming my own reseller. So, man, this one is just one of them ones. Just one of them ones, right? I'm curious if we can get it. Yep. Axial distance. You know what? It's dumb. It is dumb, but sometimes it's the nut behind the switch, right? Let's move these guys out a little bit. Again, unexpected error. Shouldn't make a difference. Yeah, it's not making a difference. Yeah. Oh, you know what? We did open, didn't we? Go back to 0. There it is. We're getting there slowly, Tim. We are getting there slowly. For those of you here probably in an air-conditioned office if you guys didn't get a good laugh out of our Facebook post today. Again, let's do it. Outside. Leave everything the same. Let's just open up that stock limit. And of course it works. There it was, Tim. There it was. We got to switch from closed to open at the end of the day. You guys hold on for 1 sec. See, one of my customers is trying to call me. We got a lot of calls coming in. How's everybody's Friday been otherwise? Again, Tim, all I did after all of that commotion, this is why, guys, this is why a proof of concept bad ideas, right? As you can see, all I had to do was change the stock limit from closed, or actually bounded, which technically means it respects it, right? It respects that boundary to open. This is the exact same thing as a closed boundary versus an open boundary, right? That's all I did. At the end of the day, I swapped from bounded to open, and just like that, that adaptive clearing toolpath worked. And of course, to sprinkle a little bit more onto this, we could go ahead and right click, of course, do our turning, profile finish. Of course, we want to go around the outside of this. Again, radial and axial grooving here, guys. Go back to our passes tab. Now, again, this is why we do these free fusion boot camps, guys, is because when we walk through the steps to somebody new, we always say, get your toolpath in, Z here. We want to get it in X. And then notice my blue line is not going within that boundary. So let's go ahead and go to our passes tab. We can see here, allowing radial and axial grooving is going to allow that finish cutter to come down and around that inside profile and cut out our material. John, it's a hard way to say it, right? I don't know at the end of the day, because if I was to go back to turning, this is just a curiosity of my own right now, is if you notice, I'm picking profile roughing. There is no open or bonded, right? It's that adaptive that is requiring open and bonded type settings. So it's only in certain toolpaths, again, and it could even be, well, technically on that toolpath, we can't really pick a different tool than a button cutter. But as you're seeing, it's only in that adaptive type scenario are we seeing a bonded Z-axis geometry issue.